What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. As promised, I am back with another pregnancy update covering weeks 8 through 10 with baby number 2. In my first pregnancy update that I posted last week, I was covering everything that had happened from basically the very start of my pregnancy up until 8 weeks. So if you haven't caught that video, I suggest going to watch that one first. I will attempt to link it below, but bear with me, I'm still trying to learn all of the lingo and the technology that comes along with opening a YouTube channel. But go ahead and go watch that video first. It's basically the start of my entire pregnancy series, and I'm going to be touching on a few things as an update of what I talked about in that first video. So go ahead and watch that one and come back, but grab a snack because it's a long one. So I'm going to try to keep this one short. The very first thing I want to touch on is my nausea. I had mentioned that I was taking a combination of Unisom and vitamin B6 at night, and I was going to try a few different variations of it to see what worked best for me. And I also mentioned that I was taking basically a quarter of the dose of vitamin B6, so 25 milligrams the day after, just to see if that would hold over, you know, the nausea-free feeling longer throughout the day. It hasn't. So what I've been doing consistently is at night, right at bedtime, I take the 12.5 milligrams of Unisom in combination with 50 milligrams of B6, so I have to cut both of my pills in half. And that is like foolproof for me. It holds me over until basically around 4 or 5 in the afternoon or evening the following day. And even though the evenings kind of suck most of the time, like I start to feel a little bit nauseous, for the most part the difference is like exponential. I would much rather take a little bit of nausea at the end of the day as opposed to feeling awful like I have been since basically I got pregnant. Another thing that's really helped me on top of that combination is right when I wake up in the morning I need to eat something. So the first thing I've been grabbing lately is a banana. I will literally wake my husband up for him to start getting ready for work, and I'll have him get me a banana, and he brings me one, and I literally eat it in bed before I even really open my eyes and get out of bed myself for the day. And that really helps me because when I wake up first thing in the morning, I am super, super hungry, and a lot of times that is what makes people feel a little bit more sick than they normally would. So I just go ahead and grab that, and that's how I get my day started, and so far that's what's worked for me. Also, to touch on my acne situation that I touched on in my first video, it's still basically the same. I mean, I guess it is getting a little bit better. So the problem that I'm having specifically is a lot of like minor bumps on my forehead, and then I would typically get like actual breakouts right around here along my chin area, and I know that that's hormonal. So I've decided to take that face brush that I mentioned also in my first video and start using it every single day instead of every other day. But I rotate between a couple of different brushes. So the shorter bristles are what I use on the days that I really want to get that extra dead skin off because it's a lot firmer, so it's stronger on the skin. And then on the opposite days, I use the longer bristles because it's a lot softer and more gentle for just like a typical quick wash. That way I'm still keeping my skin really clean, and the stronger bristles just scrape off that extra layer of dead skin, or if I haven't gotten all of my makeup off. I don't normally wear makeup every day, but obviously if I know I'm going to want to sit down and film something, I put something on, because if I didn't, you guys would probably be horrified. I've got a lot of like discoloration and dark spots in my skin, and I guess that's called the pregnancy mask, which I didn't know there was an actual term for it, but it's just like discoloration in your skin, and I'm definitely having that. But by using that brush, a lot of the blemishes or breakouts that I do encounter go away a lot faster. So at least I feel like it's helping somewhat. One symptom that I forgot to mention in my first video is my breasts have been really, really sore. They have been hurting from day one still up until this time. They are really, really sore all day long. The sensation that I'm having is that my breasts are full and I need to go pump. It's the same feeling that I had when I was breastfeeding Aubrey and I was like engorged and I needed to go pump or to go nurse her. And I'm just curious, I don't know if this is a fact or anything, but I'm curious if I'm having this sensation more for my second pregnancy because I've already breastfed a baby before. I just think it would kind of make sense because maybe like my body at this point already knows what to do. It's already carried a baby full term before. I breastfed Aubrey for a little over 9 months. So I'm just wondering if maybe since my body has already been through that before, that maybe it's like got like an extra jump start to, you know, get those systems working, which I would be so happy for. My goal with this next baby is to reach a year or more. Fingers crossed that this is a good sign that our breastfeeding journey for baby number 2 will be a lot more successful. So this part is going to sound a little bit crazy. I've Googled it like 10 times already to see if I'm not the only one, and of course the consensus online is that many mothers are feeling the same thing, especially if it's like their second or third pregnancy. So I'm only 10 weeks along. Today I'm actually 10 weeks and 1 day, but I swear I'm feeling like little teeny tiny little flutters. I know the baby is really small. I think at this point it's only the size of like a kumquat or something, but I feel this teeny tiny little like muscle twitch, but way deep inside my stomach. And I know like sometimes people are like, oh, it's probably just like gas bubbles or something, but listen, I know the difference between the feeling of a gas bubble and a baby flutter, and it always happens when it's bedtime and I'm already laying in bed and I'm the only one in here. I'm relaxing, like I'm literally about to fall asleep, and then it feels like a super deep sensation of a muscle spasm. So I am experiencing some hip pain and lower back pain. I have a lot of hip pain, pregnant or not. It's always been something that bothers me. I actually have a hip brace that occasionally I'll have to wear because my hips kind of like dislocate and pop out of place as I'm walking or doing like a lot of heavy lifting or anything like that. I know that that can just be a pregnancy thing because of the relaxin. It relaxes a lot of your joints and you have to be a lot more careful as you're moving around even early in your pregnancy. But the hip pain is a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm having a lot of lower back pain still, which I think I did mention in my first video. It just feels like sore muscles, like if I had like a really intense workout the day before or something. It's just really sore in my lower back. I think a lot of it also has to do with the way I've been sleeping. I mentioned before that I toss and turn a lot at night. That has not changed. I'm thinking that maybe I need to go ahead and invest in one of those like C-shaped pregnancy pillows, just so that I can have a lot thicker of a pillow to have between my knees, just to better align my hips, and see if that alleviates that discomfort a little bit. So I'll get back with you on that one. One of the things that I'm experiencing that's kind of contributing to the fact that I can't sleep is that I'm feeling like I'm getting like hot flash sensations. Halfway through the night, it's like clockwork. Right at like 1 a.m. I'm awake, and that's when I start to toss and turn. At that point, I just kick the blanket off and I don't sleep with it for the rest of the night. And that's very weird for me because I really only feel comfortable if I have a blanket on me, but I have been so hot. I've been thinking about like investing in a window AC unit to try to keep the temperature in our bedroom cooler, or just getting another fan for my side of the bed to try to just increase the airflow in here, something to make it more comfortable at night, because I'm telling you, when 1:30 rolls around and I start to toss and turn, I'm just not comfortable for the rest of the night, and a lot of it is because of how hot it feels in this bedroom. I finally toured a birth center. I didn't really want to go with a birth center in town because, for one, there's not really one that people recommend in my area, and of course every time you go through a midwifery or a birth center practice, you always have to consider emergency plans as far as where you'll deliver if you have to be transferred to the hospital, and I do not want to deliver at the hospital here in town. So I decided to go, you know, kind of outside my city limits, and I toured a birth center that's about 40 minutes away from me, give or take. And I met the most amazing midwife. I fell in love with her student midwife. I can't wait to meet everybody else that works at the practice. The ideal birth for me is a water birth. I've always wanted to experience that. Unfortunately, with Aubrey, we did end up having to go to the hospital. I'm just really happy with the midwifery practice that we chose. Not only were they amazing, but they also gave me this binder full of just really great information, even stuff that I didn't know. So it's a lot of really great reading material. It includes a handful of blank sheets where I could write down questions for my doctor at my next appointment, an area where they're going to write down exactly what we've measured, the baby's heart rate, as well as a food log in there. So that's going to be a great tool as I start to try to document exactly what I'm eating and start to create healthier patterns for this pregnancy. I tried to tell y'all I'm not a good water drinker. So, I've already drank half of this today. Mama is trying. But that's it for our second pregnancy update with baby number 2. I'm excited that I'm coming closer and closer and closer to the end of my first trimester. My fingers are crossed as tightly as possible that I will hopefully overcome this nausea and I can wean myself off of that Unisom combination. I would just love it if I could reach a point where I'm not taking supplements anymore. But again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next update. Bye!